Look at this beautiful butterfly. Consider yourselves lucky because only very few people in the world have seen her. It's because she is so rare and so elusive. She is the Kinabalu Birdwing butterfly. This unique butterfly is endemic to Borneo and known from one particular site, Mount Kinabalu. Why this is so, no one knows yet. It even boggles the scientific mind of one of the world's most experienced entomologists, Dr. Sutton, who still cannot figure out why this butterfly species is largely distributed in the harsh environment between 1,500 to 2,000 meters above sea level on the sacred mountain. It is a paradox because butterflies only fly in the sunshine. So what is the Kinabalu birdwing doing in the worst part of the environment?
An exciting part of the work has been the work being done by a Dutch student at Wageningen University. He's looking at the relationships between the four species, which are the Kinabalu birdwing, three other species closely related, and he's looking at the evolutionary relationships by sampling the DNA from each of those species. And the question is, why is the Kinabalu birdwing confined to the cloud forest? There's another species closely related, which is really common and widely distributed all over Borneo, in the lowlands. And there are two other species which are a bit sort of in between. They're not very common at all, but they are around. Why? How do they coexist with the really successful lowland one? And it almost looks as though, I mean, just to speculate, that the Kinabalu birdwing has been excluded from the lowlands by the more successful in competition widespread lowland species. So it's been, as it were, it's confined to the cloud forest.
The Kinabalu birdwing was first discovered in 1892 by a German-born Danish natural history collector by the name of Johannes John Waterstrand. He made the discovery when visiting the Pinosuk Plateau of the southeast slope of Mount Kinabalu. He collected birds, orchids, butterflies, and moths for several European collectors, including Otto Stauninger, who was part museum curator, part learned professor, and part successful insect dealer. From a batch of 6 specimens, Stauninger described the new species of birdwing butterfly, Troidus andromache. After the discovery, overseas expeditions to North Borneo from time to time obtained specimens of the butterfly for museums and private collections. Many came to Borneo to collect it, but nearly all returned without it because of its rarity of encounter and the difficulty of taking specimens. It is for the same reason that there was no focus on scientific study of its life, history, or abundance. There have been no published details of these, except for one publication by Matsuka in 2001, and it was in Japanese. Even records of definite sightings are hard to come by. The mystifying reputation of the birdwing makes it almost a holy grail that captivates the imagination of eccentric butterfly enthusiasts around the world. 122 years after its discovery, Dr. Sutton, who is a Fellow of the Royal Entomological Society UK and a Fellow of the Royal Geographical Society UK, sighted the magnificent butterfly on the mountain and got the international community of scientists and butterfly lovers excited. When word got around about his discovery, the Swallowtail and Birdwing Butterfly Trust, a UK-based organization which is the only one in the world tackling the threats to butterflies on a global basis, commissioned him to study on the conservation status of the butterfly.
Well, one of the key things we found out is at last we have been able to breed through and work out the life cycle of the Kinabalu birdwing butterfly. Before we didn't really know which caterpillar, which larva, and which pupa belonged to that species or one of the other 3 species of related birdwing which occur in Borneo. And so now one of our homestay operators has actually managed to find a young larva on his own little small holding, and he's managed to breed it through so that we know what the small larva looks like, the big larva, the pupa, and then bred through an adult. So now the life cycle is confirmed, and it confirms work done previously by a couple of Japanese collectors who were studying this and published it in Japanese. So we have found it quite difficult to follow. Well, the reason it's so important to know the life cycle and what pupa turns into what adult, which species, is that you want to know if you're going to be breeding the rare one, you need to know which caterpillars you're supposed to be growing up, which ones you need to look after.
Part of the study commissioned by the Trust was to look at methods to build a population to compensate for centuries of loss of native forest habitat. And they added a third aim, that is to encourage retention of the pristine montane forests of Borneo as a resource for the birdwing, and for sustainable tourism income stream based on providing opportunities to photograph this rarely encountered and elusive species, which Dr. Stephen and his team think should rightly become an icon of Sabah's rich natural heritage. These tasks are continuing. Protection and preservation of the montane forest is important to ensure that there is always food plants for the butterfly caterpillars to feed on. And here is Alim Biun, former research officer of Sabah Parks, explaining what the food plant is.
First of all, what this vine looks like.
Oh yeah, actually this is the main trunk of the Astrorchia plants. This is actually a type of scrambling plants that grow up to the canopy. So this is the leaf.
Right.
But for these matured plants, actually it's very hard to see the leaf because mostly high up in the tree. Yep. So that's why we are lucky because I took one young shoot.
And so from the underside, what's the distinctive feature of it?
Yeah, actually it's very clear and very particular kinds of plants compared to the other vine. For example, you can see the vein here is more clear.
And they all come out from the base?
Yes, it all comes out from the base.
Right.
And then the shape also is more distinct because
more smooth. Yeah.
Yes, more smooth and it's a little rough actually.
And it's
sort of beneath the leaf.
Fairly heart-shaped as well, isn't it? Yes. Yes. So this is the main plant we think coming out here.
This is the
and then
main
it branches.
Yeah, and then now they had formed
so a little shoot coming out
a little
here.
shoot, and there's another second shoot, and I think this is for their survival.
And this is a mature plant because it's we've just found some seed capsules on it.
Oh yes,
growing out of the trunk.
Actually, it's definitely this is a totally matured plant.
Right.
Because just now that we found the dried fruit attached to the main trunk.
Oh right.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And so this goes where now?
Actually, this is you mean the plants?
Yeah.
This is scrambled high up into the canopy.
So this is quite a tall tree.
It's quite a tall tree. Almost it's almost 10 meters, almost 50 meters high.
And we don't know, but we suspect that, like a lot of these canopy things, they go up and then they spread out across the top of the canopy.
Yes.
So probably this one's doing the same thing.
Yeah, because they are, to catch the sunlight. So that's why they covered the canopy of the tall tree.
And this is quite exciting for this Kinabalu Birdwing project because this is the source of where we get seeds from, and then we can grow the seeds up into plants and plant them around the homestays, the cabins, the gardens and small holdings of the homestay owners, and then that will probably attract the female butterflies to come down out of the forest and lay their eggs there, and then the homestay owners can have birdwings actually breeding on their homestay areas, and they can then invite photographers and people like that from overseas to see this pretty well unique butterfly, which is just really, this is its only stronghold in the world, just round here. So that's very good news. It's a very misty, wet day, but we found it.
Other than his supporters from the UK, the Rotary Club of Kota Kinabalu came on board to help in the mission.
We came in, the Rotary Club of Kota Kinabalu came in, asked them to plant this larval food plant so that it will attract the birdwing butterfly, and hopefully the tourists will come and see what the village can offer.
While all this is good, the elusive birdwing butterfly is racing against time for survival. It is at risk from ongoing forest clearance from agriculture and tourism development, notably in the remaining forests outside the Kinabalu National Park. These forests are either privately or community-owned. Slash and burn clearings for growing of hill rice, vegetables and fruits for home consumption are now being enlarged to grow pineapples and Arabica coffee as cash crops. The rate of forest clearance continue to increase, albeit at a slow rate. This is a typical human nature conflict that Dr. Stephen and his team are trying hard to resolve. But the problem apparently appears to be much larger.
The other thing that has been really intriguing to find out is something quite new. I was just looking at maps of Borneo, and about a third of it is quite mountainous. But if you look at it, you find that very little of that mountain mass is above 2,000 meters. Now, the zone in which the Kinabalu birdwing, it's a cloud forest species. It likes it where it's, or if it doesn't like it, it's been forced into an area of cold, wet, and miserable conditions, which is quite surprising. A butterfly you expect to be in the sun, but this one is in one of the least sunny habitats in the world, really. The reason it's important to know that there is very little forest above 2,000 meters in Borneo is because climate change is already showing that there is a temperature rise in this cloud forest zone. It's been measured and published, so we do know it's happening. Now, if it goes on for decades, maybe it'll have to be longer than that, but if it goes on too long and we're unable to halt the temperature rise globally and therefore locally as well, then we'll find that the forest cannot survive between 1,000 and 2,000 meters. It's too hot and too dry. And therefore, in geological time, what would happen, and has happened over many parts of the world lots of times, is that the forest kind of hitches up its skirts and moves upwards. But the problem here is that above 2,000 meters, there's nowhere to go. So basically, if the temperature rises too much and the forest can no longer survive, the cloud forest, between 1,000 and 2,000 meters, the butterfly will have nowhere to go and become extinct. And that will also be true of any other plants and animals which are sort of specialized, adapted to the cloud forest zone. So that's a big future problem to worry about, like so many other problems to do with climate change.
Butterflies somehow enjoy a romantic relationship with us humans. Here perhaps lie the hope for the birdwing butterfly's future, that the younger generation would have a greater appreciation of its existence and place in the entire ecosystem. Their understanding in the internetness of all things will be crucial to the survival of this mysterious species. Local girl Debbie from Kampung Kiau Nulu expresses it well.
To me, as a younger generation, the forest is very important to us and also the birdwing butterfly.
Come to think about it, the survival of the birdwing butterfly would contribute to our own. At least when their habitat is left undisturbed, we can slow down the effects of climate change as a result of forest clearings. That said, we humans can say that we too owe our own survival on this planet to this very beautiful Kinabalu birdwing butterfly.